Good. I don't know if it's good afternoon or good evening. Now at 5, it's good something. So thank you very much for joining this last session of the conference, which is, we're going to talk about Internal Developers Portal and basically Backstage, okay? So my name is Alex Soto, my tutor is Alex Soto B, my email is soto@redhat.com. Just feel free to, if you have any question, you can just raise your hand or wait until the end of the session. But also you can also send me questions in mail or Twitter. There is no problem, and I am the co-author of these books, okay? So let's start a bit with an example of why we've got or why it's important internal development portals, okay? And with an example, sometimes we are just watching the TV, and in the past, maybe some of you bought something like this. This was the Logitech Harmony, which was this big, remote control with a lot of buttons. You could do everything with this. You could control your TV, you could control the DVD player, the lights, the home cinema, everything, right? And even you can program your own macros with this screen. So okay, you could do a lot of things, but at the very end you just used 10% of the features, right? Because it was super complicated to understand how to program this remote control. Basically, this is what I have described. It's known as cognitive load. So basically, it's the amount of knowledge that you need to know to make this work. And of course, the remote controls has been simplified a lot, and now we've got some buttons, and that's all. And yeah, with this we can control everything. So we've got more or less the same experience, okay, but in a much simpler way. So let's now focus more on the software development. Let's build an application. We need a code editor, right? So you just get already or a code editor, IntelliJ, Visual Studio, whatever, and we can start write coding, right? This is we're gonna start the application. That's all what we need. Well, actually, yes, we are in the Kubernetes era, so we also need to be able to create container images. So it's not just coding. Also, we need a container registry for storing them, and we can share across all the environments. We also need a runtime for running all these containers, probably Kubernetes, but it could be any other option. Oh yes, and a lot of YAMLs, right? We also need YAMLs for CI. Maybe you're using Tecton, maybe GitHub Actions, it doesn't matter. A bunch of YAMLs. Oh yes, and also we need continuous delivery part, right? Maybe we're using Argo CD, so more YAML files. But maybe you're not using Argo CD, but you still have a bunch of YAML files for deploying this solution to Kubernetes. Deployment.yaml, service YAML, whatever, config maps, all there. And also we need a repository for storing not only my code, so the application code, but also all these YAML files, right? And it's just YAMLs and YAMLs and YAMLs, so it's a lot of more things. Oh yes, an AI, right? Because nowadays everything needs to be AI. Probably you say, hey, we're going to download a model for sentiment analysis that we've never done, but since now it's super easy, let's put the model there. So we also need AI. And a part of all these things that I mentioned, well, we need to be cloud native, right? And to be cloud native, okay, this is how it started, right? Here, you can see here Docker, Chef, Terraform, or whatever. And this is today. So there is a lot of technologies that we need to know. And of course, the developers could say, hey, I'm going to use this one that has here a big logo, right? It could be. But no, they're going to use this small one here that we don't know exactly what it is, right? Because, yeah, we are developers. We like to try things. So it's not only writing YAMLs, writing the code, the CI, the CD, and so on. It's all the technology that we want to use for developing our cloud native application. So yeah, of course, you can get up super crazy because you need to know a lot of things. In fact, the lack of organization can lead to a lengthy and inconsistent onboarding experience. So basically, maybe you face this, that when you change a job from one company to another one, or maybe you're just shifting from one project to another project, it takes you a long time to get on board, because there is different ways of doing things, different technologies, and so on. And this frustrates a lot. So what the usually we make it was creating something, name it DevOps, right? It's like, yeah, let's going to do a shift left, everything from the beginning, all the people together, working together, the security teams, the testers, the developers, all the shift left. But the problem with the shift left is that, as you can see here in the Salesforce productivity survey, is that developers are under pressure and their productivity is slowing down. So you're still getting, like having a lot of pressure saying, yeah, I need to develop, I need to maintain the environment, I need to code all these YAML files, I need to prepare the CI, the CD, everything. And as you can see, all this pressure, all this knowledge that you need to know, it's known as cognitive load. And as you can see here, it says 76%, so 3/4 of the developers says that cognitive load is high enough to negatively impact productivity. So the beginning is like, oh, I need to know a lot of things, but it's not just the frameworks that I want to use. I can use a Spring Boot and PostgreSQL and I don't know, Micrometer, so on. Not only all these technologies, but also these other things like CI, CD, and so on. So there's a lot of stuff to be done. So the solution could be, instead of doing a shift left, doing a shifting down or shift down. So it's like more that it's the organization that provides me all this knowledge. So it's, instead of being shift left and do it, it's like the organization has an infrastructure that provides me all this knowledge. So for example, we are a group of, a team of 4 members that we need to create a service for our product, and we want to use, for example, Kafka. What I want is that the organization provides me or scaffolds me like a project that say, hey, I want to do something with Kafka, and it provides me the code for writing good Spring Boot applications with Kafka. So it provides me an example. Also, it provides me all the security stuff related to Kafka, so I do not need to learn about how to do things in Kafka securely. It's already provided me. It also provides me all these CI/CD pipelines, provides me even the cluster to test my application. Of course, it's not going to provide me access to production environment, but it will be great if he can provide me a namespace to test this application. Keep in mind that if you can do this manually, of course, but you are in charge of all these things that you are doing. But if you're doing a shift down, it's the organization who provides this. And this is exactly what is at internal developer platforms. Okay, this is why they were created. Basically, developer portal is a portal, something that we've been doing for a long time, like a big screen with some windows there when we can see a lot of things, we can click it and we can get information. That it's built by the platform team. So now it's quite interesting because it's, probably maybe you're saying, hey, yes, in my company we've got DevOps team, but DevOps team is nothing, right? Because DevOps is more a methodology. It has not much sense to have a DevOps team. But in the case of developer portal, we give a name, a platform team. And what is a platform team? It's a platform, or it's a team, sorry, that is in charge of all these platform that will provide all these services from down, okay? And it's composed by developers, the security team, experts of DB, and so on. So everyone is there defining what you want to provide to the organization. And one of the great things is that provides developers with a guided and supported path to success. Okay, so it's like, okay, you want to do an application with a Spring Boot and Kafka, that's fine. This is how you need to do it. This is how you need to create the classes. This is how you need to deal with the security. This is how you need to deploy Kafka in Kubernetes. We all provide all this because we, the platform team, we are experts on all these technologies and we provide to you this solution. And as it says, it's composed of different technologies because at the very end, creating a service and putting it into production involves a lot of technologies. Not only the framework. But for example, you need to monitor this application. So it's another technology. We need to secure this application. It's more technology, right? So it's just different technologies and tools. So now, what is this rise of platform engineering? As I said, it's like more the evolution of DevOps. Because DevOps is just a methodology, but you still need to, implement it. So with IDPs, you are starting going to the DevOps direction in a, let's say, more in a practical way. Okay, it's just, as I said, it's a single pane where you can see everything. You will see in the demo. Also, it provides a lot of, let's say here, self-service with word rails. So, what happens sometimes when you want to create or start a new project in your organization? That maybe you need to start a ticket there and say, hey, we need a namespace. So you just fill there. Yeah, we need a namespace for testing the application. Blah blah blah. What else? Oh yes, also we need a Git repo, right? So let's create another ticket. We need a Git repo for storing the project and so on. With platform engineering, with a platform or portals, what you've got is a self-service. So you just have a button, you click it there, and you've got everything for you. Also, since everything is automated, you can put all these GitOps and automation stuff inside. So all this CI/CD can be inside this portal. And one of the really cool feature that I like is this real-time view of application infrastructure health and security, because it happens more often than not that you deploy your application in production and something's wrong happens in production, and you say, hey, I would like to check the logs, for example. I would like to check some kind of monitoring values of production, and they say, oh no, you're not administrator of production. Just ask me what you want to see, and I will send you, right? Because they don't give you, as a developer, access to the clusters. Thanks of IDPs, what you really have is like some windows that can be configured to get this information. So you do not need to have credentials for accessing the cluster. You just need credentials for accessing the IDP. And IDP will do all the connections that you need to get all the data. So that's nice. This is just from more of a point of view of visualize the portal. But the key point in IDPs are the golden path. What is the golden path? It's a pre-architected and supported approach to building and deploying a particular piece of software, as it says here. Basically, is the template. Because you can imagine that all these things is just a Git repo, that it's a template like a Helm chart, where you put everything there. I mean, it's not a Helm chart, okay, but so you just get the idea, okay? You put there your code, but of course your code will have some kind of placeholders that need to be filled when you create or when you materialize the template. You also want to create there all the YAML files for building that project, for deploying that project, and so on. So all this stuff goes into a Git repo. And this is a golden path. And you can have a lot of golden paths. Maybe you've got one golden path for, as I said, Spring Boot and Kafka. And maybe you've got another golden path for Spring Boot and AI. And another one for Spring Boot and PostgreSQL. Okay, so you've got a lot of golden paths, which basically provides you a receipt of what you want to implement in the best way. Basically, we can think that you as a developer, you're going to do this. You're going to just go to the portal and say, hey, I want to create an application. You will see all these templates. In this case, I don't have a lot of them, but I've got some. And you said, okay, I want to create the Spring Boot plus Kafka application. Great. You just select it, and when you apply this template, of course you need to fill the placeholders. It will create one or more Git repo with this materialized template. So you can see that now it's a self-service. You just click the button and you've got a Git repo with the materialized template there. Also, you can configure or not to provision an environment and a template for deploying this application into production. So you see that, of course, you are materializing a template that is a hello wall with a lot of things, but it's just a hello wall. It's not your business code. But from that point, without just clicking, you already have the application deployed on production. And after that, you can just start developing your application, doing commits, push, and so on. And then after, you can develop. And also there is this part of monitor health. So you can just check every time what's going on in your application. Then, what is the most popular solutions nowadays? It's Backstage. Backstage is an open source project. This Backstage project was started, developed by Spotify. And, well, basically because of the culture of Spotify, that they have, a lot of isolated teams and, working together, but always, quite, let's say, somehow isolated. They needed some way to at least provide some standardization. So some way of saying, hey, all the applications or all the services that we need that use, for example, Spring Boot and Kafka, again, as an example, we want to be in this way. All created in this way, not in another way, this. So they provided this way of standardize this madness of microservices, if you will, that everyone can do whatever they want. The downside of Backstage is that the ongoing maintenance that you're going to have. Because if you have ever played with Backstage, you'll see that it's a Node.js application that you install in your machine, and there is nothing. It's just, a server with some windows, but you cannot do anything. You cannot, for example, install plugins, or there is not, a good ecosystem of plugins already installed. Even though it's opinionated, but there is nothing. It's just empty. How you can install all these plugins? Oh yes, you need to learn TypeScript and Node.js. Basically, you need to download the plugins, copy in a specific directory, then update some YAML files there, recompile everything, and done. Okay, so it's not that easy. And as I said, you need to recompile Backstage. So every time that you add something, you need to recompile it. There is no automatic service discovery. It's not like a marketplace that you say install, 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 and everything is installed. So Backstage is a really nice piece of software, but as you can see, you install it, but there is nothing. The good news is that there are a lot of plugins already developed. There's a plugin for SCMs, for example, for GitLab, for GitHub. There's a plugins for CI and CD. Like, for example, I want to implement my CI system with Tekton, for example. Then it provides you some kind of integrations with Tekton. With CD, oh yeah, I want to use Argo CD for deploying to production. Okay, it provides also the plugins for monitoring as well, for easy tracking, for code quality. So there's a lot of plugins, but again, what you need to do is install them manually, do some kind of code of TypeScripting for registering the plugin, and finally create this package. And also there is another problem with all this stuff is that Backstage is not providing an easy way to install it into a Kubernetes. And at the end, nowadays, most of the organizations are using Kubernetes. So that's fine, but you can see that it's not easy to start. Then what we did in Red Hat is create the project Genus. Project Genus is an open source project that it just takes the Backstage project. It just puts there some opinionated plugins. It just provides you some Helm charts for install them into Kubernetes, and also it provides you some golden paths. So of course, as I said, they are opinionated, but there are a lot, and you can just get the Genius project, install it, or do Helm install, blah blah blah, and at the end, at least you will have a Backstage with some stuff. As I said, I think that by default it uses, for example, Tekton and Argo CD, also GitHub Actions. I think, well, there is a lot of also stuff already integrated, but you can always just do the typical way of Backstage, which is download the plugin and recompile it, and you get your plugins there as well. We are working together with Backstage also to provide some kind of dynamic provisioning. So you don't need to do all these steps. So it's like, okay, there's a marketplace, I want to use this one, install, and you have got there installed, right? But yeah, I mean, it's a cool project. Okay, so let's start with with some kind of demo time. Let me show you a bit of what is all this Backstage. You will see that I'm using this Genius project, so you will not see an empty Backstage. And basically, what I want you to see in the demo is that by just filling some parameters and doing next, you will be able to create a remote Git repo. So we're going to create, in fact, we're going to create 2 Git repos. Okay. Then also we're going to scaffold some code. And the good things about this scaffolded code is that it will come with the accepted versions and patterns that we agreed in the in this case we could say in your organization, because maybe you don't want to use the latest and greatest Spring Boot version. You want to stick to 3.2, for example. So this is something that you can put it in the code. We're going also to create a CI pipeline with, in this case, Tecton. We're going to create a CD pipeline for deploying the application into Argo CD. Also, something that is really painful and it's automatically done is configuring the triggers. Okay, so every time that I do a change on the code, automatically will just trigger a run, and then finally it will also create an namespace to deploy this application into Kubernetes. So let me go here. Okay, then this is, as I said, this is Backstage. If you install Backstage, you go to backstage.io, you download it and you install it, you will get this thing. Yeah, not with the, well, basically this is because I'm just running this in OpenShift, but doesn't matter. Basically you will have this. This is, I think that this is green, but it's the same. But all this will be empty. So as I said, it comes with nothing installed. You need to install everything. In this case, it's not. It's with some, with some stuff already there. Even I have my cluster here configured. Now, one of the great things about Backstage, as you can see here, it says clusters, and you can see all the clusters that I've configured, right, that I can interact with Backstage. In this case, I only have one cluster. This is where I'm going to deploy the application. It's, for example, running in AWS. I can even say that there is an upgrade and the number of nodes. So you can see that you are not an administrator of the cluster, but you can see an overview of the cluster. And then we've got here the tech radar. It's something that, well, it's pretty nice to have it. If you are a really big organization and you want to try to get, that the developers more or less understand what you are advocating for and what's not, or what you are, taking a look, you can create this kind of radar. Okay, say for example, adopt JavaScript. Yeah, it seems a joke, but life. Yeah, then here's I don't know, halt Java, well, versions less than 8. I don't know, frameworks, for example, React, Spring Framework, right? You see here a Spring Framework. It's just in the DAP, and then Quarkus says, oh well, yeah, Quarkus is something super new, and well, we're taking a look. It's still not to adopt, but we are doing some stuff. So all the organization knows more or less what you are, as an if you will, what the architecture team is looking around. Okay. Now also there is this docs, which is, yeah, well, you'll see in a few months when we deploy the application, that basically provides you the documentation of the services or applications that you've created. And another thing that it's super interesting here is the learning paths. This is super nice for the new hires, or someone that is moving from one project to another project, and you can put here a lot of learning path. For example, develop with CamelK. Suppose that some part of your organization is doing CamelK, okay, and say here we explain how we develop with CamelK. So anyone who joins the organization and says, oh, you're doing camel K, I've never done camel K, or I'm doing camel K, I want to see how you are doing camel K. Okay, you've got here everything, and you can click it, and then you go to the, if you will, the course. And the same for develop with GitOps. So the basic idea here is that all the information that the developers would like to have, it's provided by the portal. Now, let's go here to the catalog. Catalog, or we can go to the create first. Create is to create this golden path. So it's this, all this template with all the information. Here you can see that there is some. This one, there are 3 of Quarkus, and this one is from an Angular application that is using Spring Boot. And of course, you might say, oh, that's pretty nice, but I cannot see a Spring Boot golden path. And to create a golden path, you only need to provide a GitHub repo with the golden path. In this case, it's a special golden path because there is a lot of templates inside. But you can just put here in templates, GitHub, and if I go here, you'll see Spring Boot backend. Okay, this is the golden path for creating a Spring Boot application backend. I'm just going to register it first. Going here, register, wait, because here in the URL, you put here the URL, you put analyze, wait, again, let me go back because here, template. So I'm just putting the YAML. Okay, now if I put it here again, and now it analyzes, it says, okay, it says, oh, if this is a template, blah, 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 you do import, say, hey, this is the location, blah, 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 finish, everything is the golden path has been installed, and now you can see here that they've got create a Spring Boot backend application with CI pipeline. So basically, this is a golden path that provides a template for a Spring Boot backend plus a continuous integration pipeline. How to create this golden path? I'm going to show you here. Basically, you need to, first of all, create this template.yaml file. More YAML files. But the good thing is that you only need to do it once, and that's all. So it's a good thing. Here you put here, okay, the owner, the system, the parameters. Remember that this is a template, and there are going to be some placeholders, and you need to fill these placeholders. Well, okay, you can provide some default values, okay, but at the very end you need to provide them. So you register here, for example, the organization name, the repo name, the description, the owner. This is the owner of the service. Then here the system, the port where the application is going to open. Then the group ID, the artifact ID, and the Java package name. So this is something that you want to provide or not. You see here, for example, in the Java package name, you're providing a default. So if you don't fill it, it's going to be this. And also here we are saying yes, of course. And also I want to require another golden path. This golden path is the CI part. And the CI part, as you see here, you can choose. You can choose to do CI with GitHub Actions, or you can choose to use CI with Tekton. The num is here, okay? And these are the names, GitHub Actions or Tekton. And this is where you put the path to the other golden path, the golden path that it's for Tekton. I'm going to show you now. Here is the dependencies. Okay, and basically here in the dependencies part, you are adding, more. It's the way that you can, let's say, customize the wizard, because at the very end, all this is filled with wizard, and this is how it's done. And then finally, the last thing that you need to do is the steps. The steps is how you add all these, or you scaffold all these wizard. And the wizard in this case is going to be fetch template. Basically what you're doing here is downloading the template from the Git repo. This is what you're doing here. You're providing, all these values. Then also we've got another one, which is generating the CI component. So remember that the CI part is in another golden path. So what I want to do is download this golden path. So I'm just doing fetch template and I'm putting this this information. And in the case of GitHub action, as you can see, it copies into this .github/workflow. Then what I've got here, well, here is the catalog template, which basically is more information. Here we've got the publish. Remember that I said that by default, Backstage is going to create a GitHub repo, in this case, or a GitLab repo. So I want to publish, I want to push this template that has been materialized, locally in the Backstage instance. Now I want to push. I want to do a git push to these new repos. And this is what you do with this step. And yeah, finally, it gives you the output. Okay? This is how things work. Now, if you want to see in this skeleton, a skeleton is just the Spring Boot application. You see that this is a Spring Boot application, but if you, for example, open pom.xml, you see here that there is these placeholders. Okay, these placeholders is what you will fill in the wizard, and then automatically will resolve these placeholders with what you've input, materialize the template, and then push it into GitHub. And it's the same with everything. I mean, if you go here to the Tecton, you open Tecton. Wait, Tecton is in another. Wait, Tecton. Let me, because now I don't remember. Template is dot. Oh, wait. Here. Dot skeletons. Tecton. Okay, skeletons. I think that it's here. Tecton. And well, what you're going to see here is just, in this case, all the YAML files for building an application with Tecton. You see, then, for example, here there is a pipeline, and here you define all the pipeline with all the stuff, and so on. And it automatically will just grab that when you fill the placeholders for the application, it's going to also fill these placeholders. If you go here to GitHub Actions, that maybe you are more familiar, okay, you see here the CI, it just get, okay, the environment variable, the image name, it comes from here, the tags, blah, 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 and it just, provides a good GitHub Action CI YAML file. Now, in this case, but I'm just going to get this one, which basically because it's, so you can see something visually that it's deployed, not just a hello world. I'm going to do choose, and you say, okay, repo owner here, if it's any of the users that you have registered into Backstage. In this case, I put it development, and then the description. Okay, this is Angular SPA. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to do next. Then it asks me, okay, in which namespace you want to deploy this application. In this case, it's point of interest. It's okay. Now, okay, where do you want to, or where is the host where you want to store this application? I'm just setting this one, which is the internal one that is in the cluster, and the image tag. Okay, here you put latest. It doesn't matter, but you could put here whatever you want, and you put review. And I said, okay, this is what you want to do, right? Yes. Okay, I'm going to push create, and now it just, as you can see here, it's all the steps it's going to do. It's like generating source code, basically just downloading the templates, fill all the gaps, right? Publish the source code repository, doing the push. Registering the source code component, basically it's registering internally the application into Backstage. Then it's generating the deployment resources and artifacts. Remember that in this case, we are using CI and CD for this application, so it's generating all these, or just taking the templates for CI and templates for CD, and materializing them, publish these repositories, and finally create Argo CD resources. So basically just creating the Argo CD. Now, if I go to docs, you can see here that this is my application. Oh, not found. Yeah, because this is happening because it's still building the documentation. We'll see now. But okay, now I can go to catalog, and now in the catalog I have, well, this is a null application, and this is the current application, the one that we created now. I just can click it, and okay, it's just starting. You see that Argo CD is progressing. You see, I do not need a username and password for accessing the Argo CD dashboard. I've got here the information of my application. Then I can go here to the topology, which now it's probably super simple. It's just, now it's just still deploying. Well, this is a pull. So you can even, connect with your CI system, Git system for getting all the pull requests. Here, okay, here is the pipeline running. In this case, I'm using Tekton. Okay, and here you see that it's running. This is the status. Okay, this succeeded, and the other one is built and push. So basically, it's creating the container image. Again, I do not need to have access to my cluster. All the information is here. The CD part, well, it's still probably, since I've not built yet the application, it's waiting. Here in the Kubernetes part, okay, you've got all the Kubernetes, the cluster where I'm just deploying everything, and the dogs and the dependencies is all the dependencies that you've got. In this case, only since it's just one service, it's this. But if you've got multiple services, then here you will see all the multiple services. Here in the API, still nothing. There's still nothing there because I'm still building, but. When this work, when the build's finished, here you can see the Open API right, or in API, your API in Open API format. Okay. Yes, this is still just doing things. I could just show you if you will here. This is in this case I'm just using the GitLab. I'm going to refresh, and here. These are the two repos that I've created. You see that were created 3 minutes ago. The first one is the code. So if I click it here, it's the code, okay? And here is the front end. This is how I'm going to deploy this application, the CI and the CD. And you'll see that there is no placeholder. It's just, what you've done. Here for building the application, okay, this is, it's using Helm. And it's just providing some, some of these values by default because I provided in the template. And and the same for if you want for Argo CD. Then in case of Argo CD, I've got some Argo CD resources or manifests. And as you can see, they are correctly configured because it's the great thing about Backstage, right? That I created my golden template. I just created all the templates correctly, and then when just doing next, I got all this field and here working. Now let me check if it finished or not yet. If not, let's go to the CI. Yes, you see that finally the build succeed, and now I can go to the CD. Here is, the Argo CD. Here I just open it Argo CD. You see all the applications there already deployed automatically. I've not done anything. At Backstage created the namespace, created your project and deploy it as it was going to the production with a pipeline, with continuous delivery. And if I did a change, automatically will just trigger this. Then let's wind down. I would say that, yes, this generative AI is changing everything. I like to say this because it's like you go to the ChatGPT and say, hey, can you implement me Tekton pipeline, and it provides something. Now it's a bit, sometimes provides okay, sometimes not, but it's still you need the ADP. Because the idea is like, okay, why I need an ADP if I can have ChatGPT, providing me all this bunch of YAML files. That's true, but it's not always the best thing. As I said, it's still in the early stages, but there are over like 200 adopters. There are a lot of a community. What is really important is that if you want to create this platform team, it needs to be a group of experts, because at the end, this code is the one that everyone is going to use. Everyone in your organization is going to use this code. So just keep in mind that you need to put there the best practices. If you want to use, for example, HashiCorp Vault with dynamic secrets for accessing your database, that's fine. But do it in the right way. So you need to find the expert that knows exactly how HashiCorp Vault works, how it needs to be configured, and create correctly the template. And one thing that I really love about Backstage is that you only need to do clicks, clicks, clicks. And developers love clicks, clicks, clicks instead of creating YAML files and YAML files. So also here is if you go to this QR code, you can download it a lot of books for free, and even there is one that I think that is going to be released, or it's already released, that is about developers portals. Okay, you can and as I said, you only need to register. I mean, it's free, no credit card or nothing. You register and then you can download it. These books and other books like for developers portals. And yeah, if there is any questions, if you want. If there is any questions, I mean, I will be here around, and yes, that's all. Thank you very much.
Hi. So thanks for the presentation, first of all. I see when there's big push for microservices in some organization that this benefits a lot. It's easy to set up. But would you say how teams which are working on mostly like established products, which doesn't create a lot of services every day, how would they benefit it? I guess it's a single point of information, your pipelines and such.
Yeah, exactly. So, the good things about this is that you have all the knowledge there, and also, a part of the obvious thing of that you're saving a lot of time, because you've seen that with just click, 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 I was able to deploy a Spring Boot application into production. Not production, or not production, but I mean that in a Kubernetes cluster, so it's obviously you saved a lot of time. I think that the good point also is that, of course, there can be an error. So you can create your golden path and do something wrong, okay? And then you just need to go to the golden path, you fix it, and every others, from that point, all the future services are going to have the benefits of this, right? Let's say in a more traditional way without an IDP, yeah, you can say, hey, you can send an email saying, hey, be aware that we were doing this thing in this way, but it's not the best one. Yeah, and maybe people would do it or not. In this way, you know that, yeah, of course, you can start a project without using an ADP, but if everyone uses the ADP, you always get it updated with the supported, if you will, versions with, well developed and so on. So that I would say that this is one of the great benefits of this. And even, for example, you say, hey, suppose that you didn't know. I mean, you can even be a developer and you want to use HashiCorp Vault for, injecting secrets into the database for doing dynamic secrets. You can do it, and you can have no clue about how this works. But it doesn't matter. I mean, it's like, here is the code. Just code it there, because there is a lot of code around that I've already provided to you that is doing the rest. Okay, so no worries. You do not need to learn it. So I think that, of course, it's a benefit in some way. It's also there is also some counter problems with this. It's like, okay, I don't know exactly what I'm doing. It's just a black box, right? So it has this thing, but I think that it has a lot of benefits in this sense.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Regarding the genus, is it like a fork from Backstage or?
No. Yeah, no, it's not a fork. It's like it's a project that I've got there is all these templates and so on, and we also, for example, providing a Helm chart, and basically just gets this from Backstage, and then it builds. So you will have genus with Backstage version, I don't know, 0.25, for example. So it's not a fork. So we are still using the root of Backstage.
Like a self-checkout way of getting a developer
If there is a
like a self-service way of getting a developer portal deployed?
yeah, yes. If there is, if you want to try it, okay, you can go look. You can go here. Here is the developers.redhat.com/developer sandbox, and this is like a free OpenShift cluster. Yeah, it's free. I mean that we are not no credit card, nothing. Just that I think that you have like 2 CPUs and 12 gigabytes of memory. And if you check, there is one guide of how to install Genius into this instance. So you can, and you will get what I've got here. Okay, so this is at the end, this is what I showed you before. I just went to the developer sandbox. I installed Genius, and I've got all these things that for this reason is quite empty, right? Because it's like with the default ones. Yeah.
Have a template for generating a Backstage.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean that. But basically, yeah, and even I could try. I think that doing some tricks, minimal tricks, you can use Genius in Minikube, okay? But you're going to burn your CPU.
No.
So it's for the reason I always use yeah, it's someone else CPU. But yeah.
The repository of templates, is it also generally available? Repository of templates that you showed.
Yeah, yeah, it's a GitHub. Yeah, in this case, yeah, it's wait, it's here, github.com/Red Hat Developers, Red Hat Developers Hub Software. Well, yeah, I know that the name. But if you search for Red Hat templates Backstage, Google will tell you this URL. Yeah, here is that they are open. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, everything that I've showed you, it's open source and works with basic. I mean, that if you want to run these templates into a, let's say, vanilla Backstage, you'll need to do a lot of things. you'll get it, but you will need to do a lot of things. And this is what Genius is doing for you. Basically, it's like you don't need to do all this TypeScript stuff. It's just doing this for you. Yeah, but yeah, and again, Genius it's open source, so it works everywhere. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.